Overnight, if there was any doubts of just how corrupt the system is, how devoid of humanity this world is, if there was any question about it, those questions have been answered overnight. Al-Tabi'in School, Northern Gaza, where people are seeking refuge, bombed, over 100 bodies mutilated. Not a single body is complete and dead in its completion. And yet, the US government has approved billions of dollars of funding for Israel's military. And yet, our country continues to produce weapons parts to continue the genocide on our people. This is the corrupt system that we have today, where they make problems. They say that we are the problem for protesting, for disrupting, yet they do not address the problem of what it is that we are protesting, the genocide. The genocide. There's no question, it's not a law, it is a genocide. In February it was a plausible genocide. This is a damn genocide, what we're watching today. Shame on you, to all the Zionists and the Zionist sympathizers.
Yes!
We will continue to show up. It's been, what, is it 44 or 45 weeks?
I don't know, 44.
It's been 44 weeks. 44 weeks. 10 months. And look at the number of people that continue to show up. It's to show the people of Palestine that we haven't forgotten. We will never forget. Because as long as there is injustice in Palestine, as long as there is injustice against indigenous people, we will continue to fight until justice is served. Because the systems have failed us. International law is not selective for a few, it is for everyone. And we will hold them to account. This is why these rallies are important, brothers and sisters. It is for us not to just rally for Palestine. It is for us to rally together as a people, to come together, to stand in solidarity and show our love and our humanity for one another, for our causes collectively. Platformed on this stage, Palestinians, indigenous people from around the world, and even here in Australia, so-called Australia, whether it's West Papuan, Kashmirs, the Kanaki people. We have platformed Jewish anti-Zionist brothers and sisters. We have platformed unionists. We have platformed students who have fled encampments. This movement has brought people from all walks of life together. And we will remain strong. We will remain united in this fight because we are stronger together. Stronger together. Now I started off with a rant and I completely forgot to do an acknowledgement of country. So I'd like to acknowledge that we are on stolen land, unceded lands, and we pay our respects to elders, past, present, and to indigenous people of the Burundi war country and all people around the continent. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land, as Palestine always was and always will be Palestinian land. Always was, always will be. Always was, always will be. And we like to show our love and support to the indigenous people here who are putting in a lot of effort to take the crown to the ICJ for stealing their lands, for exploiting their lands. We show our love and support for them, and we also extend our thank you to them for allowing us to protest on these lands for 44 weeks. We do not take it for granted. We do not take it for granted. Indigenous struggle anywhere, indigenous struggle everywhere. So we stand in solidarity with you. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, brothers and sisters, Rafi Batote. I hope I didn't butcher that. Sorry. She's the co-founder of Refugee Women Action for Visa Equality. She organized a walk from Melbourne to Canberra last September with 22 women. She's demanding permanent visas for the 10,000 refugees who are denied visas due to the flawed fast-track process introduced by the coalition government. She is now organizing a sit-down strike outside the Department of Home Affairs, which has been ongoing for 25 days, and they are determined to continue this action until their demands are met. Please welcome Rafi to the stage.
To share our story and our struggle to build a future in this country. I was born on the beautiful island of Sri Lanka, where I belong to the Elam Tamil community. As an indigenous people, we have lost our homeland and now find ourselves displaced, living as refugees. Because of our identity as Elam Tamil, we were subjected to brutal torture, humiliation, and forced to flee our home. For over 13 years, our people endured unimaginable suffering, spilling their blood in a fight for survival, a suffering that continued to this day. In 2009, as our people were being slaughtered, the world and its institutions stood by, turning a blind eye and even supporting the Sri Lankan government. We will never forget this betrayal. We cannot simply move on. Our experience mirrored the struggles of the Palestinian people. I fled my country 18 years ago, and from childhood to this very moment, I have been on the run, searching for a future. My fight for peace is far from over. In Australia, I am fighting not only for my future, but also for my children's future. We are desperate to see an end to our life as refugees and to build a new future. Last year, alongside 22 women, I walked from Melbourne to Canberra to bring attention to our plight, but our voices were ignored. That's why, for the past 28 days, despite extreme cold weather, we have been protesting around the clock. There are nearly 10,000 of us across Australia. We have little or left. We believe that the Labour government would address our issues when they were elected. But after more than 2 years, we have been completely ignored. We refuse to wait for another election filled with empty promises. We live in a state of constant uncertainty, a situation that is dangerous for many of us. We have been separated from our loved ones for more than a decade. Many of us are living with a severe depression as if we are mentally unwell. Some of us have the right to work, but we cannot move freely. We have no access to Medicare, and many of our children born in this country are denied the right to attend kindergarten or high school. Despite being here for more than 12 years, we live in a state confusion and stress. We need certainty. That is why we are calling on the government to grant us permanent visas. Until they respond, we will not stop our fight. We came to this country seeking protection, but while we may no longer to pursue by the Sri Lankan army, we find ourselves without freedom in this country. This is an open prison for 10,000 of us. We need a firm decision from the government and we demand permanent visas. As we lead this fight for all refugees to receive permanent visa, we also want to express our deep sorrow for the suffering of the Palestinian people. We hope that when they seek refuge in Australia, they will not be treated as we have been. Tamil people are still waiting after 15 years for justice was cleared in 2009. Justice for the genocidal acts committed by the Sri Lankan state in 2009. It is heartening to see so many of you stand against genocide week after week. Genocide should never happen anywhere in the world. It should shock as well, unite as well, and drive as well as to collective action. Yesterday it was the Tamils, today it is the Palestinians, tomorrow it could be any of us facing the violence from our own government. This is why we must continue to stand in solidarity with the Palestinians. Let us raise our voices together for the Palestinian people, for refugees, and for peace to prevail in the world. Finally, I want to make a quick announcement. Tomorrow, Monday at 12 p.m., refugees from our encampment will gather outside the Australian Labour Party headquarters in Dockland. We will hear from many speakers as we expose the double standard of the Labour government, and then we will march to the encampment outside the Department of Home Affairs in Dockland. Over the next 10 days, we will mount on the terrorist protest in this country has seen day and night. If the government refuses to respond, we will not stop. We will continue until we achieve a solution to our problems. I invite each and every one of you to support our campaign while we continue your fight for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. This is one struggle, one fight. Thank you.
From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! From the sea to the river! From the sea to the river! Thank you, Raki, for that beautiful speech. It reminds us that our work that's happening by our governments is that the colonizer mindset still very much exists. They go and they terrorize indigenous people's countries and then ruin their societies. And so when they seek refuge and they make their way here, then they actually start to make a problem of refugees. When in actual fact, it was our government that is the root cause. Shame on them. And I know this personally. My grandfather was a refugee from 1948, where he had to flee to Lebanon with his younger siblings at 15 years old. And he had to take care of his siblings at that age. What was his crime? It's that he was Palestinian. I know this because my father was a refugee. At 18 years old, he fled from Jenin. He fled from Jenin in Palestine, holding his nephew in his arms. along with his sister and who's holding his niece. And they're on a truck on their way to Jordan to seek refuge. They get off the truck. 200 meters later, that same truck that had other people, other refugees on it, was targeted by the Zionist regime. Everyone on that truck was killed. That happened in 1967. It's still happening today in 2023, 2024. We are being targeted in our sleep, when we are fleeing, when we're getting food, when we are praying like this morning. They were praying the Fajr prayer. They wake up from their sleep to pray. That's what Muslims do. As-salah khayrun min an-nawm, walakin ash-shahada khayrun min kulli shay. They woke up to pray, but they died as martyrs in their prayer. Unfortunately, they were killed, and not a single body was killed in full. All limbs just everywhere. You couldn't even identify whose limb is for which body. That is the level of carnage that we saw. Brothers and sisters, let this be a reminder that we cannot rest. We cannot slow down. What is enabling this is not just the Zionist regime that continues to just demonize us as if we are just some insignificant animal. It is our government that continues to fund it. It is the US government that sent billions of dollars to the Israeli military at the same time that bombing happens. The colony will fall. The American colony will fall. This whole world has been exposed to just how corrupt and how much they are willing to serve the Zionist colonizing regime. No more. That well is drying up. That well is drying up. Palestine might not be free tomorrow, maybe not in a month, maybe not in a year, but it will be free because we know we are the humans. We know where justice lies. And if the institutions and the government have failed us, well, we will take matters in our own hands and we will make sure that justice is served. When the Israeli Zionist regime fall, may it die, because there is no place for it on this earth. And that land will be our land, as it is always was Palestine, and always will be Palestine. From the river to the sea. Firstly, I do want to send lots of love and pay my respects to an activist who has been with us for a while here in Melbourne, and she left last night. Dana Sha'ad has been leading University of Melbourne from Palestine. She's an extraordinary person, an extraordinary activist. She has done incredible work here. She grew up in Palestine. She lived to see the apartheid, and she has done tremendous work in trying to pressure UNIMEL to disclose all of their agreements with weapons manufacturers. And I'd like to say thank you to Dana, and she'll be sorry for this. Can't wait to have her back. Free Palestine Melbourne donation box that'll be going around. Free Palestine Melbourne helps fund a lot of actions around so-called Victoria. So please make sure if you see your donation boxes, you donate generously. And lastly, there's a KUM group, which is the Muslim Singaporeans group, who will be streaming Where Olive Trees Weep movie, an incredible movie. I highly recommend all of you to watch it. You'll see some people going around with a piece of paper with a QR code. This will be happening on the 24th of August. So if you see some people going around for this movie, be sure to purchase your tickets. like to introduce our second speaker. Hind al-Pashouti is an organizing member of both the Palestine Justice Movement Sydney and the Palestine Act Group Sydney. She is also a student of the University of New South Wales and an active advocate for Palestinian cause. Please welcome him to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land of Wurundjeri people. I pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. This land was never ceded, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I will not stand here and tell you about the latest death toll, because those figures are more than just mere numbers. They're people with names and loved ones they've left behind, and each of them was someone's everything. Instead, I'll tell you a story of many tales and many lives. A story told by countless readers and heard moreover by countless listeners. A story of death and pain and suffering, but most of all, a story full of resistance, resilience, determination and love. A story that moved and broke the hearts of many. A story that no matter how many times it's told, no matter how many ways it's told, will always mean just as much as it did the first time. The story of Gaza, which is being torn apart day by relentless day where it seems to have no end. A story which always seems to finish with a semicolon as the story goes on and on. A story written on ash-tarnished pages, with bloodied ink. The pen never runs dry as the new martyr's blood never fails to stop spilling. Each page between my fingers as I flip through this book, crisp and brittle as the blood begins to soak into its fibers. A grim story painted each day for the last 76 years and 10 months. A story where its words are worth 1,000 pictures, but this is not the kind of story you can read to your kids at night. A story where children's childhoods were stolen from them, where fictitious nightmares were realized all too quickly into reality, where lineages were erased, where mothers and fathers and children were murdered in cold blood. A story of genocide and homicide and biocide and infanticide and suicides. The same story with all the different sides intricately woven into a book so long, there are no chapters, there are no breaks. A book without a title because the headline changes every hour, but everyone knows which book I'm referring to. A book where new words and new names are added faster than its writers can try and keep up with. A book where the words fall onto the page quicker than the next martyr has fallen. Letters transformed to words. How one little word in any language can say it all. How one word can bear such meaning, yet carry no weight with our governments that arm the IOF each day. How one word can mean nothing and everything at the very same time. Genocide. You can say this word a million times and it will still mean nothing to them because we are speaking to humans without a shred of humanity. Words to stories. I think of every parent that lost someone dear to them. I think of every parent whose nur was extinguished as their ruh was stripped away. They had to fight to live another day when their little children whom they taught to read and write were stolen from them. Little children whose innocence was robbed of them, growing beyond the years to care for their traumatized siblings. To fight another day when they had no fight left in them. Who have to worry about their next meal instead of trivial things like what game to play. I read on to see stories of parents who to their children are fallen asleep to finally cry as they lay beside them, stifling their pains away in the night. Be strong, they say, but how much strength is one person, one people expected to have? How long do they have to keep up their strength as their lives crumble around them, as they lose their will to live? Again and again, it's the same story told a million times over. Colors to pictures. The colors adorning the flag of Palestine, red, green, black and white. I begin to realize the parallels in how they came to be and what is happening now. Green for the luscious farmlands that once were. Red for the bloody streets and rivers and bodies strewn at every turn. Black for the people who became unrecognizable to their loved ones. Ashes to ashes as they all fell down with one fell swoop in the night as yet another drone came crashing down on yet another tent. And white for those lucky enough to be rescued from the rubble as their families and friends pieced them together before wrapping the shroud ready for burial. There's just nowhere left to bury them. White for the bodies that pile up side by side, all that have died, taken too early from this life, martyred and gracing the heavens with their presence. This sorrowful terror has become abundantly clear that the price of the lives of over 186,000 Palestinians is not too great to pay when they never valued their lives in the first place. When they kept supplying an army of genocide by any means necessary, capitalism above all else. The Israelis are trying to normalize their crimes by repeating them. Schoolyards quickly turned graveyards, hospitals turned morgues, homes quickly turned to rubble, no matter how many lineages were wiped out, no matter how many children were orphaned, no matter how many children couldn't sleep at night until they were permanently at rest. Your genocide does not excuse you to commit this genocide with no repercussions. It is not a life for a life. If anything, it should allow you to see the precious sanctity of each person's life. How many years will it take to rebuild? To undo the emotional trauma? To rebuild what was broken again and again? How many years will it take for each Palestinian to build up some semblance of who they once were? How many mass graves must they fill with their loved ones? What will their lives look like without the pain brought upon by the continual onslaught of family members and funerals? This story is filled with many pages of resilience and love of life. It is a chronicle of liberation fighters, throwing stones with all their might, because what else is there to do but fight when all you love has been taken from you? When you can no longer get an education, when you can no longer feed your kids and have to watch idly by as they starve to death. What else is there to do but fight? Because who wouldn't fight for their family? Who wouldn't fight to live? This is a story where our heroes don't wear capes. A story where they aren't the ones we grew up idolizing on our screens when we were younger. Here, our heroes wear press vests and medical vests and have aliases to protect their identity in a world that criminalized their heroism and their bravery. This story has too many characters to keep track of, with people trying too hard to change each name to numbers. Yet no matter how hard they try, I remember each of their names. This story where the villains always seem to have the upper hand, where people's hearts are blinded by every truth we put before them. Lie after lie, they wouldn't try so hard to change the narrative if they were not threatened by their mere existence, because they know they do not have the world standing behind them. And for every headline they change and every journalist they erase, 100 more people will rise to tell the Palestinian story. There is a story where the readers may come and go, where children may grow to recount their parents' tales, but the story will never stop being told. Never again for anyone, and we will never let them forget it or rewrite the story of Gaza. We will ensure history is written correctly this time. We have Allah on our side. Resistance will always be justified as long as there is an occupied land. They can occupy their land, but they can never occupy their resistant souls. Liberation is near. We can feel it in our hearts. The question is not when Palestine will be liberated, but how high a price will we have to pay before we see that day? So when our governments and our universities try to stop us from picketing and protesting and carrying out our encampments, why don't they stop and take a second to understand what it is we are vehemently protesting against? That we are fighting for something they are teaching us, how to be human. That we are fighting for something greater than any one person, that transcends ourselves for a cause dearest to our hearts. That we had humanity when the world had none. That we spoke up in a world not designed for us, with corrupt justice systems, but for a different kind of people, with lighter skins and different views, to decolonize a world that had been colonized 1,000 times over. And if it was colonized 1,000 times more, we would continue fighting until our last breath. We have to keep fighting for the little hens, the Adams, the Muhammads, the Khalids, the Noors and the Sidras, for the children that tasted death before they tasted the pleasures of life, that knew trauma before they can read and write, that became Malakul Jannah before the day was over. In the words of Mahmoud Darwish, when they ask you about Gaza, say to them, there a martyr is being attended to by a martyr and being photographed by a martyr and being bid farewell to by a martyr and being prayed over by a martyr. There's 186,000 Gazali souls cannot be brought back, but their deaths can mean something. Let the fallen liberate those still standing in Gaza. The people who heard their pleas are still every time, and those in power who can aid them, indifferent to the strife, aware of what is happening. But how can we expect a heartless people to change? We cannot speak to what isn't there. They continue along the blood-dotted line as they sign off on yet another crime, indifferent to another death, because what's another Palestinian life? They cannot dictate the value of human life. To us, it's worth everything. And if the world fails to grasp that, we will continue protesting until they understand the undeniable value of one Palestinian life.
Now, more than ever, Palestinians have hope. Despite the mass murder, the carpet bombing, the mass destruction of Gaza, the mass abduction of Palestinians, turning them into hostages, and keeping them in administrative detention, basically imprisoning them without charges. Despite all of that, we have hope. Because the Palestinian flag is the flag that is flying highest in the world right now. The Palestinian flag is the flag that is flying most in the world right now. And we know that statistics say that 50,000 lives were taken. Lancet report said 180,000 lives were taken. Despite all that, Palestinians know that even if it costs us 200,000, 300,000 lives, that is the price we pay for liberation. All the blood that was spilled and the lives that are lost and the torture that we go through, if that's what it takes for us to liberate our people and to get our land back, then that's what we will go through. We will not stop, we will not rest. We will not stop and we will not rest. Raji'een, we will return. There is no choice other than returning. If they think they can silence us, that they can kill all of us and exterminate us and kill this movement, they are very, very wrong. This movement is going strong. It has been going strong for decades. I have never seen it stronger, and it will continue to become stronger. Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. There will be the AWL picket will be happening this Tuesday, August the 13th at 5:30 a.m. It's in Dandenong South, 145 Abbots Road, Dandenong South. There's flyers going around. Make sure to take one. Make sure to attend leading numbers at these pickets so we can disrupt their businesses for as long as we can. Just please note that these are peaceful pickets. Very peaceful pickets. Non-violent pickets, which they're about stopping the weapons that is being used against our people. The same weapons that were used on that school last night while the people were praying. The same weapons that have been used for the past 9 months, 10 months against us. Why? Because we are Palestinians and we resisted. Now, second announcement is that in partnership with the Community Soccer Hub, the Western Bloc of Solidarity groups, which includes Brimbank, Hobsons Bay, Wyndham, and Melton for Palestine, are hosting a football tournament. Hey, come here. Stand up. Make some noise for Zayn, everybody. The poster for the Solidarity Cup. If you don't show up, you're going to make him very, very sad. So please make sure to show up. Basically, it's happening in Selwyn Park in Albion near Sunshine on the 14th of September. All the funds raised, all the ticket sales will go to Palestine Sports for Life in the Gaza and West Bank, and for Gaza Urban Women Agripreneurs Forum. And if you're looking for more details, then the community group will be handing out flyers, and you see Zayn with this very cute poster going around. This is a special opportunity to build solidarity across communities in so-called Melbourne, and we recognize that football is a beloved sport in Palestine. Connecting many cultures around the world, let's make this connection visible in this Solidarity Cup. So please make sure you show up on the 14th. The next speaker needs no introduction. Samah Sabawi, an incredible author, incredible poet, playwright, and recipient of multiple awards nationally and internationally. Samah, stage is yours. Please make Samah feel very welcome.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Always was, always will be. Always was, always will be. I spoke at the first rally more than 9 months ago, more than 300 days ago. And we're still here. So salute to your resilience and your commitment. And we are going to continue to be here, but I need you to drag your family, your friends, because we need more of you. Please. The UN says that 93 Palestinians were massacred by Israel today in a strike on a Gaza school, including 11 kids and 6 women. Just a casual piece of news this morning. In fact, this month alone, Israel has bombed 8 schools where people were sheltering. Does this move you? Are you disturbed by this? Are we any different from everyone else in the world?
Yes.
Why is it that this is not moving those people in power yet? It's bewildering how massacres in Gaza have become so normalized. Do you remember the first time that a school was bombed, or a hospital, or a university, or a residential building? Do you remember how you all thought, there's going to be so much outrage. Israel's really done it this time. Israel is still doing it. And we need to be louder and stronger. 308 days of genocide have passed. Conservative estimates are telling us that there's almost 40,000 people killed so far, almost 100,000 people wounded, their lives altered forever. Nearly 250,000 are in exile with no systems to catch them, no safety nets, no savings, no governments that care, no refugee camps, no UN programs to help them move to the next phase. And here's the disaster. There's more than 2 million people right now displaced in Gaza, not once, not twice, not 3 times, some of them up to maybe 12 times displaced, with no proper access to food, medicine, shelter, or water. And the water part really gets me, because the disaster of not having a water expands beyond the fact that they're not drinking, they're not quenching their thirst, they might die of dehydration. Add to that when their tents are on fire, when Israel lights their tents on fire, there is no water to put out these fires. And so you just have to listen to the screams and wait it out. And you can't even do a proper counting of bodies anymore. This morning, after the massacre in the school and in the mosque, we learned from the people on the ground that in order to count the numbers, they actually gather pieces of flesh in plastic bags, and every 70 kilos
is an estimated 1 person killed.
Shame.
This is beyond horrific. There's more than 20,000 children missing in Gaza. Missing, unaccounted for. 20,000 pieces of some parents' hearts have not been accounted for. Mass graves are filled with people that are unidentified, ungrieved, unburied properly, unknown. Thousands in these mass graves. Numbers. We're bombarded every day with statistics. But you know which number really breaks my heart? Really breaks my heart. It's this one. There has been 0 arrests for Israeli war criminals. 0 accountability for Israeli war crimes. 0 statements from our government announcing an end to an arms trade with Israel. 0 threats by our government to cut diplomatic ties with Israel. And do you know how many times the Prime Minister reached out to or sat down with genocide survivors here, or even communicated to their families? 0 times! More than 300 days, and the leadership in this country is more concerned about our words than about Israel's actions. More worried about social cohesion than it is about the hurt we feel as we wake up every single morning knowing that we don't matter to them. Paying our taxes knowing that this government uses them to invest in trade with Israel to blow our bodies into pieces. Using our taxes to pressure the media, the ABC, to comply with certain standards, to not use words like genocide, and not interview people such as myself because I'm a troublemaker, and not really platform Palestinian voices. All right. I just want to say something here. They don't owe us anything. They act as though they don't owe us anything. And I want to say, I'm all for social cohesion. Really. Don't get me wrong. Wouldn't it be great if we had beautiful social cohesion? But first we need to be included within the social part. We need to be seen, heard, and we need to know that we fucking matter. Social cohesion. Come meet the survivors and promise that you will cut ties with the country that has cut their lives into shattered pieces. Please continue to come to these protests. Please spread the word. Tell them we need you and them and everyone here. In the first few months of this genocide, with my family being in Gaza, and I've just come back from Gaza myself, I was posting, almost unstopped posting on social media. I was speaking more at protests and at rallies. But at some point, I started to run out of words and energy. And it is now that you need to catch people like me. We need your words and your energy, so please don't let us down.
In our thousands, in our millions. eradicate Palestinians. Physically eradicate us. That's been made obvious. They are trying to make us insignificant, deny our existence, deny our history, deny our humanity by taking us into Israeli gulag, into prisoner detention, raping those prisoners, and then having get investigated. People go to protest in support of those rapist Israeli soldiers. They are protesting to support rapists and to blockade aid going into Gaza. They are protesting to enable starvation, torture, dehumanization of Palestinians. Yet we are protesting for humanity. We are protesting for love, for sovereignty, for justice, for recognition. And yet we are the ones being labeled as the problematic ones. This whole system is going to fall. It is unsustainable for it to continue being like this. It will fall because it's the determination and the perseverance of each and every single one of us for the past 44 weeks, attending the Sunday rallies, going to our local rallies, going to weapons blockades, doing fundraisers for Palestine, emailing our MPs, going and meeting MPs, and trying to tell them to recognize Palestine, going to Canberra, protesting in Canberra, all of these efforts, and we have not yet lost determination. We will continue to fight. We have gone to a stage now where they are trying to impact Palestinians not just in the short term, through the targeting of Palestinians. It's not just about directly targeting them, it's also about denying them health care so that polio disease spreads and people start to, and the little kids start to build disabilities early on. It is the trauma that they are giving us as Palestinians in Palestine, but also Palestinians in the diaspora. So that they make us lose hope. So that it becomes unsustainable for us to fight. But let me tell you one thing. We will continue to fight because we have a love for the land and a love for our people. And we are Palestinians. Regardless of what you do, we do not fear the Israelis or the Zionists. We fear God. We do not fear death. And if we must die for our land, then so be it. We will die for the land because that's what we're dying for. And that is indigeneity. Not like the Israelis who fear us and they have to wear diapers. Now, I'd like to introduce our final speaker. Where's Omar? There he is. Great timing. Omar Hassan is a Lebanese activist, a teacher, and a candidate for the Victorian Socialist. Please make Omar feel very, very welcome.
Thank you, Amin, and thanks to everyone who's here today. It's been almost 1 year of this terrible genocide. Almost 1 year of bombs dropping on schools and hospitals, of people living in this cage, of children being operated on without anesthetics, and 1 year of a world watching on, passively at best, but actively supporting the genocide at worst. But it's also been, and we should acknowledge and congratulate ourselves, 1 year of a global intifada. 1 year of a global resistance that all of you are a part of. And that small thing, comrades. That is not a small thing. Because the people who run our world, the Joe Bidens, the Netanyahus, the Anthony Albaneses, they rely on us to be silent. They rely on our acquiescence. But when we stand together and fight, we make life much, much harder for them. And as well, to give hope to our sisters and brothers all around the world, including here in Australia, facing the genocide alone. So that is really important. It's been a shocking few weeks. It's been a shocking few weeks. First we saw unilateral assassinations and murders by the Israeli military. They think they can operate. They think they can operate anywhere in the world. They think they can kill anyone they like. And there are never any repercussions. There are only mealy-mouthed concerns. Concerns about possible escalation. Concerns about civilian casualties. What do we think of Joe Biden's concerns? Fuck you! They are not worth the paper they're written on. He is not concerned at all. He is actively supporting what is going on. And so, our movement continues, and it must continue, and it will continue as long as this war continues. But we also need to think about the long term. The Palestinian people have been fighting not just since 1948, they've been fighting since 1936. They've been fighting before that. There's been a century of resistance in Palestine. And there will be many more decades of resistance. So we need to think, how are we going to best serve that resistance? What kind of lessons can we learn from the last 12 months? And I think there's a couple that I want to highlight today. The first is that despite the fact that our rulers, our capitalists, our governments think and claim that we live in the democracy, in the land of the free, in the defenders of the rule-based order. The truth is, there is no crime too great that Western imperialism will not sanction. There is no crime. There is nothing that Israel can do that will cause the West, not just America, not just Europe, but here in Australia, to stand up and say no. There is nothing. We've seen that now. We've seen that in the last 10 months. What does that tell you about our elite, the global elite? It tells you they do not deserve their power. They do not deserve their control. They are illegitimate. Not just Benjamin Netanyahu, not just Donald Trump, but all the so-called liberals and progressives. They're not worth the pile of shit of a single child in Gaza. None of them. That's lesson one. So we are fighting not just against the Israelis, but we're fighting a global system of capitalism and imperialism, of which Australia is a small but an important part. The second lesson is that the Australian Labor Party is absolutely part of the problem. When Anthony Albanese got elected in 2022, I know a lot of people had hopes that maybe society was about to improve. Maybe there would be some climate justice. Maybe there would be an improvement for refugees, for Indigenous people. After all, one of the first things he said was that he would commit to standing up for Indigenous people in some form or another. And what have we seen? Across the board, the status quo. We might as well have a Liberal government. What have we seen? Nothing on housing. We've got refugees camping still because there are 12,000 refugees in Australia languishing on temporary visas. We have a planet that is burning, and our government is still investing in fossil fuels. street, they have nowhere to go because we can't afford a place to live. And we have Palestine. Palestine has exposed all of this and magnified it and clarified it. The Labour Party's approach to Palestine is their approach to everything. Side with the power, spit on the powerless. Side with the powerful, ignore the victims. Well, we have been sending Labour a message each and every week that we turn out here. We have defied the police, we've defied the media, we've defied the councils, we've defied the weapons companies, and we have stood strong. Because in our thousands, in our millions, in our thousands, in our millions, fists in the air, in our thousands, in our millions, in our thousands, in our millions, and we are going to have a chance in a few months' time to send Labour another message. There is going to be a federal election either later this year or early next year, and we have to make sure that the Labour Party gets the message. We will not be voting for genocide. We will not be voting for the status quo. We're not going to vote Liberal, that's for sure, but the Labour Party cannot take our votes for granted. So in a range of Melbourne seats, I know there's going to be a challenge in Wills, there's going to be a challenge in Cooper, I'll be running in Corwell, in Broadmeadows, one of the most working class, multicultural areas. They have gotten nothing from Labour. There's no public transport, there's no public hospital, the schools are falling apart, and they're spitting on us by supporting the Zionists. So we are going to send Labour a message here on the street and in the ballot box. Thanks for your support, comrades. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Thank you.
And just to echo words of Omar, now we are seeing people more politically active than ever before. People understand what the Labour Party's about and what the Liberal Party's about. People that have not voted before or used to vote apathetically now understand who to vote for. I'm starting to see Arabs and Palestinians and Muslims who were never politically active now running for council. This is what this genocide has opened our eyes to. People are waking up, people are acting, there is action, and there will continue to be action until Palestine is free, until all indigenous peoples' justice and rights has been served. So, we'll be marching to Parliament today, brothers and sisters. Be very loud and chant with conviction. Now I want to do a very quick chant with you. When I say the name of the town of Palestine, you say Raja. It means we will return. Ana Raja, Raja! La Bladi Raja! La Ahli Raja! Al-Quds Raja! Al-Ajini Raja! La Tul Kalam! Al-Lid Raja! Al-Akka Raja! Al-Ajini Raja! Al-Nabis Raja! Al-Tul Kalam! Al-Ghazza Raja! La Ghazza Raja! La Palestine! La Palestine! Wallahi Raja! Wallahi Raja! Ana Raja! Raja! We will return! All of us, we will return! Let's get marching, everybody! Let's Parliament! 1, 2,
We won't be silent.
3,
Stop the bombing.
down, 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 down! 1,
be silent. Stop the bombing now, 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 now. One. We are the people. Two. We won't be silent. Three. Stop the bombing now, 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 now. One. We are the people. Two. We won't be silent. Three. Stop the bombing now, 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 now. One. We are the people. Two. We won't be silent. Three. Stop the bombing now, 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 now.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you at Parliament.
Anyone wanting to join the breakaway will start from back here. If you want to join the main rally, head towards the front. The breakaway will begin from back here. The main rally, as usual, will start from the front. No matter which one you take, well done on showing up today. A line that people know.
You haven't got your car today? You haven't got your bike today?
We can't get a train. Everything's against us. Second time, third time.
No. At least you're here anyway, yeah? Yeah.
People, we won't be silenced. Stop the bombing now, 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 now.
Are you doing all right? Yeah. Last night wasn't much good. Oh, that was all right. It's got a lot worse.
such a bittersweet feeling being Palestinian these days because you witness all of the atrocities and it just keeps getting worse. The bar of that Zionists are willing to stoop to, it just keeps getting lower and lower and lower. And yet, every single week we see this kind of crowd, this kind of energy, this conviction, the love for the resistance the resistance, the love for Palestine. It really puts it into perspective. We as Palestinians are so grateful for every single one of you for showing up week in, week out for us. Thank you, everyone. Now, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, a special guest from Gadigal land. Land is a 48-year Palestinian and a community organizer. She is a student representative and convenes BDS Youth, Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions Youth, and she is also a member of Dare to Struggle Films. Please make them feel very welcome.
I'd like to acknowledge the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, the lands that we are on today. I'd also like to acknowledge and pay respects to the lands that I was born on, the Palestinian lands, the lands that I grew up on, Darug, Gadigal, Darawal, Bidjigal. These are the lands which I sought refuge and provided my family safety and security. But they did not do that for blackfellas. This country continues to dispossess, to incarcerate, and to oppress First Nations people, and we are proudly in solidarity with all First Nations people all over the world, from Gadigal to Gaza. Always was, always will be.
Aboriginal land!
Always was, always will be.
Aboriginal land!
I'm a community organizer in Sydney, and this here is a fantastic rally! But you guys are just as loud as the rally in Sydney, so can you beat them? We have a chant that we've got going. Repeat after me. Occupation is a crime!
Occupation is a crime!
Like Australia, Palestine!
Like Australia, Palestine!
Occupation is a crime!
Occupation is a crime!
Like Australia, Palestine!
Like Australia, Palestine!
Today we mark 308 days. 308 days!
Yay!
Today we mark 308 days!
Yay!
Where is the outrage? I want to introduce myself as an Indigenous person. That is what we do. We define ourselves, our lineage, we position ourselves on these lands. Over here, I am a settler, but back home, I am Indigenous. I am from the land called Kumarkanda. Kumarkanda was colonized in 1948. No, way before. When the British colonialists entered our lands, it was my great-grandparents and their grandparents who fought that, who resisted the Fidaiyin. But here I am a settler and I am committed to the sovereignty, self-determination, and ending the incarceration of blackfellas on these lands. Today we mark 308 days of genocide, 76 plus years of colonization, and over 250 too? How's our strategizing? How's our movement building? How's our gathering, our healing, and our supporting, networking, and building power? Never forget that this movement didn't start 9 months ago. This movement started 100 years ago from our elders and our ancestors. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And one of the biggest mistakes that the Zionist entity has ever made was to not allow Palestinians their right to return. You know why? Because now we, the Palestinian diaspora, we are everywhere, all over the fucking world! We are everywhere, and we are building power everywhere we go! We build power across continents, across languages, across axes of oppression! We build power with workers! We build power with teachers, with the everyday person. We build power with everybody, and that's why our numbers are incredible and massive. But to win this struggle, we need each and every single one of you. What we need to win this struggle is to bring more people on board. We need to build coalitions. We need to harness power and strategize. We need a movement that is grassroots and revolutionary. It challenges the status quo and imagines and fights for a better world for everybody. If you joined the movement 2 days ago, thank you. If you joined the movement 2 months ago, thank you. If you joined the movement 2 decades ago, thank you. Every single one of you is a part of this movement, a part of the struggle, and a part of our liberation. And each and every one of you has friends, family, neighbors that you can go to and bring to the struggle. It's up to you to speak to everyone you know and bring them in, because they came for us first and they will come for you next. Our liberation, Palestinian liberation, is tied up with all liberation. Liberation from capitalist exploitation, from corporation, from empire, from racism, from the war machine, from environmental devastation, from the patriarchy. It is all interlinked. We have one struggle, one fight. And in our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians! In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians! In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians! In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians! In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians! In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians! Thank you.
Yes, truly, we are all Palestinians. We are all freedom fighters. We are all resistance fighters, each and every single one of us. We have the determination and the love for each other, the love for sovereignty, the love for indigeneity, the love for humanity. And that is what we have, and we are willing to give anything for it, unlike the other side. No colonization project was able to sustain itself. No colonization project was able to sustain itself. And Israel will not. They have shown the world their intent. when Smotrich would say that we can justify starving 2.2 million Palestinians just so we can get a few hostages out. They have shown their intent when they say that we are human animals and each and every single one of us is a target. They have shown their intent when they announce a record amount of settlements that have just recently been deemed as apartheid by the ICJ. And amongst all of that, Israel is struggling. The economy is collapsing. They have spent a record. UK's largest pension fund has dumped Israeli assets. There was an election campaign for Gordy Bush. She is a staunch pro-Palestinian in the US. AIPAC have had to spend a record number of almost $9 million to actually delegitimize her campaign for her to lose the primary. Despite that result, $9 million is a record amount. We are draining the well. We're draining it hard now. The money that they are spending to sustain their power, to sustain the colonization, to sustain that genocidal regime, that well is going to run out. And there will come a day where AIPAC will have fuck all to spend. There's going to come a day. And just remember, the Zionists will continue to say, oh, I served in the IOF, and all I want is peace. When they say they want peace, they're talking about their peace.
Yes.
We have not been living in peace for over 100 years.
Yes.
The second that their peace is disrupted, that's when they call for peace.
Yes.
Fuck your peace. Zionists do not deserve peace. They have put us under genocide, apartheid, systematic oppression, and you do not deserve peace, and you will never have peace. And what we will get is the liberation of Palestine, and that day is coming closer. It is coming closer, brothers and sisters. We will get there. All of us together. We will, I said it before, we say it again. We will march back to Palestine when it is liberated and free from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river. Palestine will live forever. From the sea to the river. Palestine will live forever. One. We are the people. Two. We won't be silent. Three. Stop the bombing. Now, 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 now. One. We are the people. Two. We won't be silent. Three. Stop the bombing. Now, 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 now. Thank you, everyone. We will see you back again here next week and every single week. Now, be sure to head back to State Library if you have the time, and I also want to say thank you to the Renegades for setting up all the AV week in, week out. A big shout out, give them a round of applause. And a big thank you to our drummers as well. Thank you to the drummers. Very quickly, RMIT students, stick around. We have a quick announcement from James. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! My name's James. I'm from RMIT Students for Palestine. You might have heard about us. We kicked Elbit Systems off campus last year. We went to fight that despicable company that produces at least 80% of Israel's drones.
You might also know that at RMIT and universities across Australia, Elbit Systems is just the tip of the iceberg. My university, RMIT, brags about its ties with weapons companies. The government gives RMIT awards for its links with weapons companies. So RMIT Students for Palestine have organised throughout this semester to do something about that, and that's what I'm here to tell you about. If you're a student at RMIT, if you know anyone who studies at RMIT, there is a meeting this Tuesday at 1 o'clock that they have to be at. It's called a student general meeting, and it's an opportunity for all RMIT students to get together and to vote that we want our campus to be a weapons-free campus. We want our university to be a pro-Palestine university and send a signal to the people in government, to the people who run our university, that we won't stand by. We won't be quiet in the face of their complicity in genocide. We will fight them at every step. We won't let them brag about their ties to these despicable companies that make the bombs, that make the fighter jets, that make the missiles that are raining down on Gaza. So if you're a student at RMIT or any other university, get involved with Students for Palestine. If you're at RMIT, come to the student general meeting this Tuesday, 1 o'clock, and fight for a free Palestine. From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free!